My name is Howard Hill. I'm a veterinarian. I moved to Iowa in 1970 and went to graduate school at Iowa State University. Got a degree in veterinary microbiology and been involved in the hog industry for, that'd be 45 years. I've been involved with organized pork production through the National Pork Producers Council. I was president 4 years ago. You know, even though we have a fairly rural communities around where our hog barns are, we still have people living out there and we have small towns. So odor is something that we want to do the best we can to control. I think it's very important that producers do as much as they can to mitigate odor so it has the least impact on their neighbors as possible. And we see more and more producers doing exactly that. They're using products that reduce the odor. And of all the products that we've used, and of course there's many products out there, most of them are biological products, but of all the products that we've used, the Triune product does the best job of reducing odor for us. We have an interesting trial going on right now. We've got a site where we have two 1,000 head barns, and we're using the product. We're using Triune in the south barn, and we're not using anything in the north barn. And that's mainly set up to do an agronomic study again, looking at what kind of yield boost we'll get with the Triune. But it's interesting to talk to the employee that manages those farms, because we didn't tell them what we were doing. And they asked us the other day why one barn smells more than the other barn. And fortunately, the one that smelled the worst was the one that we hadn't used the Triune in. So yeah, that's a pretty good testimonial when the employees recognize that there's a difference in the odor. So, and they can tell, you know, people are, the sensitivity to ammonia is different. Some people it doesn't bother, other people are more sensitive to it. And she told me the other day that when she's in the north barn, she can tell there's more ammonia. Probably the most dramatic demonstration of odor control was when we had some visitors from China, and they came to the site one of the sites where we were using the product, and they got out and they said, well, they didn't smell anything. And so I took them over and I said, let's get in front of the pit fan and see if you smell it there. And there they could smell, you know, it's not going to eliminate 100% of the odor, but they could smell it. But it wasn't so strong that you smelled it all around the site. And that same day, a neighbor about 2 miles away was applying manure. And so I knew he wasn't using any pit additives. And so I said, well, let's drive down there and you can see what that's like. And as we drove close to the farm, the odor started coming through the air conditioning. And I told the fellow that, I said, I'm going to roll the window down. He said, no, don't roll the window down, because I don't want that odor in my nice truck. He had a nice F-150 Ford truck, but there was a strong odor. And 2 days before, we had applied manure out of a different site. And so we drove up to that site, and before we were using Triune, we'd had some complaints from the neighbor where we were applying the manure. And so we drove up there and we drove in their yard right across from the field where they applied the manure with the Triune in 2 days before. And they got out, smelled, they said, well, I don't smell anything. And I said, and I'm glad, because I don't hear from the neighbors either, because they don't smell anything. It's not objectionable to them. And these are farm people that had raised pigs in the past, and they typically wouldn't complain unless it was really strong, you know, but with using the Triune in there, we were probably 100 yards away from the field, and they absolutely couldn't smell anything there at the site.